Welcome to DEFN, episode number 50. I think I fucked up last night. 54,
54,
I hope.
53, 50 something. Yeah.
Somewhere around.
It's a bit like me and Peter, 50 something.
Well, welcome to 50 somethings of DEFN. I'll soon join your ranks. So let's get started. My name is Vijay, and this is I'm from Holland. Why am I introducing myself again? Okay,
I don't know, man. Yeah.
I know. I don't know either. So let's welcome our guest first.
Yeah.
Peter, welcome to episode number 50 something.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, for the people who don't know, please introduce yourself.
Maybe you should give him his full name at least, Vijay. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Peter Strömberg. Is it Strömberg or Strömberg?
It's Strömberg in Swedish.
Oh,
but,
shit,
yeah,
okay.
I'm not going to have you say it. But Strömberg is what is usually pronounced in English. Yeah, so I'm Peter Strömberg, and I don't know what I should say about myself. I'm a father of 5.
Holy hell.
Yeah, I'll say that that's the most defining.
What are you doing here?
Yeah,
This is escape.
Yeah. My. Are you a Catholic, Peter? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah. No, I'm not a Catholic.
Okay.
I do like kids, but
Okay.
I'm not. It's not a religious thing.
Okay. Apparently, Catholic priests really love kids. Sorry, that's a bit of a...
I think it's Catholic. It doesn't really matter if you like kids, right? It happens.
Yes. This is really 50 something podcast.
Oh dear.
Like all people complaining about kids.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. But yeah, so you asked me to introduce myself, so
Yes, please go ahead. So
yeah. So what do you want to know?
Well, father of just before we go on there, father of 5.
Yeah.
It requires a little bit of that's amazing. So how old are your kids now, Peter?
So they range from 6 to 19. So
All right, okay.
it's where they're well spaced out.
Yeah,
And I can recommend that. It gets less crazy than if you have like, what would it be?
Like
Quintets.
twins or something.
Yeah. So it's quite amazing actually. The help you get from the elder ones. So and the way the younger ones look up to the elder ones. So it's quite amazing actually.
Yeah, you must have a pretty busy house.
Yeah, it's full of fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
All the time.
Right, cool. Like Vijay says, this is a bit of escape for you. Yes.
Like Sunday evening. Okay, everybody quiet down. Have a podcast. But what do you do during the day, Peter? Apart from, of course, managing all the kids and all the stuff.
Yeah. So during
Professionally.
professionally, I work at a small startup. We're trying to create. We're trying to actually solve the part of the housing problem for young people in Swedish urban areas. So we have created this like new kind of loan because in Sweden the problem for like buying your first apartment is like defined by regulations. So even if you have like the salary and stuff like that, so you could actually go to the bank and get the loan, the mortgage, then it's still you need to have 15% yourself.
Oh, so you need more down payment for
the down payment needs to be 15%, or rather it is like you can only have a mortgage for 85%.
Okay.
So and with the level of the price for housing in Sweden is especially in the urban areas, is really, really high. So then this 15% gets a lot of money. So even if you're good at saving, and I've been doing it for a while, it takes a long time to actually save up the full 15%. And while you're doing that, the house prices are rising. So it's a chase. So we're trying to help with a new kind of loan for these, for a part of these 15%. That should leave you with cash flow and stuff like that, and nice. Also like have less risks than like traditional
like banks and
blanco loan. So it's so
it is not a technology startup then. It's more like a financial startup.
It's fintech.
Fintech.
Yeah.
So it's
funny. I thought that was all the Finland people, but boom.
Oh wait,
now you should be. Exactly.
It was a slow joke.
Yeah, it's a 50-year-old bloke joke, It
takes a while.
Yeah, exactly.
For younger people to catch up. So that's pretty interesting.
We've been at it for quite a while, and so when we started this, was 2015, I think.
Right, okay.
And
then, 4 years almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then there come like a storm of regulation. So it took us very long time to get the permits and licenses we need to operate. So so it's not yet launched actually in Sweden, but we hope to do that like the start of next year. Then finally we get to help these young people, we hope.
That's pretty nice, because my sister lives in Stockholm.
Yeah.
And they have young kids, pretty young, 6 years or something.
Yeah.
6 years and 4 years. So I think by the time they grow up, I think they'll be one of your customers probably.
Yeah, maybe then we have launched. Yeah.
So you're in beta right now, like Google beta.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, we're really hoping to be able to launch this at the start of next year.
So is it one of these? Is it one of these things where you've got some bank that's like funding the development, Peter, or is it some kind of venture capital, or are you self-funding it, or how is that all working?
Yeah, so it started out with self-funding. So I'm not one of the founders. I've been with it from the start, but I was not one of the founders in that way. So, but it's self-funded to begin with, and then like it has been very ad hoc, finding people who are willing to fund, because the idea, so which I can't spell out here, but it's like it's on a level that when people hear about it, they just like, this is brilliant, this is excellent, I want to be in. So we have had like the situations, so even without having any customers for a very long time, people are still like eager to be in on this. So, but we have a one bank in as one of the some major financiers of the thing, and then it's like private persons,
right,
mostly. But it's actually what got me into this whole Clojure thing. So since it was like a greenfield project, and to begin with, it was like the major part of the idea was crowd lending.
Right.
That's gone from the solution now, but it was like that in the start. So, and then there were no like ready-made platforms actually we could use, so we built our own. And the guys that knew anything about tech in our company, they said we should do this with Clojure. So that's the first thing, the first time I have heard of Clojure, and so it all started there. And we also choose Clojure script for the front end, and we have Datomic also as the database. So it's very
so
cognitech.
You're living the dream. The full
it's
stack
fun.
Cognitech dream. Yeah,
it's really fun.
But before starting with the startup, so what were you doing? Like before this one, what was your tech stack, or were you a technology person before, or
so it has been like on and off for me. So, but just right before this, I wasn't really a tech person. I was a product owner at Spotify.
Okay.
So I was. If you have used Spotify Connect,
yes.
So I was one of the in the team that brought us. I was a product owner of that product to begin with, and I saw it enter the market, and people could buy the first pair of speakers with this. Then I found this this startup and switched gears. And also I at this company, my main task is not technology. It's more like a product owner role I have.
Right.
But it is a startup, and you do like a bit of everything. So
everything.
I've been doing a lot of front end stuff. So Clojure script for me.
That's interesting. And where are you based in Sweden? Which city?
We're in Stockholm.
Or which? Stockholm.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe next time I'm in Stockholm, I'll stalk you.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Oh my god, you got to get a drum beat for that, man.
Oh shit. Okay, next time I'm in Stockholm, I'm gonna stalk you.
God damn it! Oh man.
So probably people don't know that we got new tools now.
I know.
Now they know.
The dog's gonna start barking in a minute.
I think our listening graph is gonna be like. I think it's we get onto the nice slope now.
Can I just say, by the way, to everyone listening, that it's VJ is responsible for all these sound effects, by the way. So I'm just completely disowning them.
But you're responsible.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
For triggering them, right?
Oh, my God.
So,
right. He'll get fed up of them eventually, and then we can go back to sanity, Sorry, Peter. I mean, this is you're in the middle of this experiment. This is like the craziest startup of all, deafening.
But exactly. I have listened to Deafen a lot, so
all right, okay. This is a new level. This is a new level of craziness, though. This is.
Yeah. Well, at least sanity is not.
Well, we are 50-something now, so who cares? The next level. So, Peter. So, obviously, I think you said that unfortunately you heard a couple of episodes of DefM. So, I usually ask people Emacs or some other shit, and this episode is going to be some other shit, pretty much. I think.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my editor joke first, though?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready with the drums.
Yeah, so my mum went to a 100th birthday party while I was there last week, and it was for a friend, Violet, okay? And one of her sons stood up and made a speech and said, everyone, it's my mother here, Violet, congratulations on her 100th birthday. And to all of her friends, they all know her as Vi. But we, the family who really know her very well, we all call her VI. Sorry. Carry on.
Okay, so I think we need some visual clues, like applaud or something for the audience, so they know when the joke ends.
Yeah.
But you can run the joke if you're like on a birthday party for someone called Ed. You can do that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's varieties. I just love the fact that people get so fussy about like the fact that it's ED or something, some shit like that. When I used to work for Ingress and go to California, and some people really got snooty about that. You know, it was hilarious, really.
Yeah, I think
It's weird.
we in computing we have to pick our fights properly. So
Yeah, I mean, really, it's of course Emacs, because Emacs has the best of both worlds, doesn't it? It's both Emacs and Emacs.
exactly.
You know, it's kind of like
Yes.
it's a mixture of like a continuous word and two words. So they're definitely, you know, they're playing all ends there. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the best editor and best everything. So now, getting getting back to some other shit. So for the younger hipster people like
Oh yeah.
Peter who are into VS Code stuff. So Peter, I think one of the nicest projects that you're working on and leading pretty much is Calva, right?
Yes,
Can
it
you
is.
can you give us some intro about the project, and then why did you choose some random editor than Emacs?
Yeah. So, yeah. So actually,
You've got to
as I
justify
told,
yourself, Peter,
yeah,
against, you know, because
yeah,
obviously, you
Exactly.
know.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready with that. It's no problem. So my colleagues that brought in Clojure, they also were like Emacs people, and so we were doing mob programming,
Mhm.
and so I used Emacs quite a bit there in the beginning, but when I was like, then I know for reasons we stopped doing so much of mob programming. And do you know what mob programming is, by the way? Is it familiar to you?
Vaguely, yeah, but I think it's worth explaining. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's like so everyone in the squad or whatever you call your group are like programming with the same screen and the same
Yeah.
keyboard. So you have one. You can probably do it in different ways, but we are like one driver at a time, and the rest of the
Yeah.
team was like helping out with thinking. And
Yeah.
so it's I think it's very good for like spreading knowledge and for starting up, exploring new fields, and uh, like building out new parts of your tech stack and stuff. But it's excellent.
I think I use a less violent term I don't know, dojo or something, coding dojo. So you keep rotating the person who is typing, and is it something similar to that one?
I'm not familiar with the coding dojo. Maybe it's a thing, but this
Probably.
is like it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
term. That's I don't remember who minted it, but it's like you can
Okay.
look at mobprogramming.org and you see. So
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
whole
Yeah.
philosophy behind it.
Yeah.
But anyway, for reasons that I don't really recall, we like fell out of this programming mode, and and so when I was doing Clojure script programming mostly, then I tried to use Emacs, and I kind of
Mhm.
like it. But it was very new to me, everything, and I had decided that I shouldn't run it in the evil mode because I really wanted to know Emacs to learn that.
Yeah.
So, uh, but it was like my computer, my product owner computer, was not like made for development at all. So it really had hard times coping with Emacs. And then I was on like some kind of workshop or something like that. Someone was showing some RX stuff in JavaScript, and he was using this new fancy thing that was called VS Code. It looks
Yeah.
really good, so I downloaded that and used that for that workshop, and I started to like it. So that's how and it really I could start like several VS Code sessions on my machine. It wouldn't like complain at all. So then
Mm.
I started to use that also for Clojure. So that's how it happened.
Okay.
I mean, it's VS Code is really awesome in so many so many ways. And
I can just hear Vijay sort of cracking his knuckles.
Let's get ready.
putting the pins into the voodoo doll that he's got of you, Peter. If you feel a sharp pain in the arm, you know what it is.
Yeah, but so Emacs has a lot going for it, but it's not like really easy for like I said, I'm 50 plus years, so it's starting to try to learn that. It was a bit of a struggle, and I had like every time try to figure things out. But VS Code worked much more like everything else I used, so I had never had to learn it. So that it has that going for it, I think. So it's
Yeah, I mean, all the jokes aside, I think VS Code is. I think when GitHub announced Atom, right? I think that was the fundamental shift because people could customize it using JavaScript, and JavaScript being the practically everywhere, and everybody started using JavaScript.
yeah.
But then I think VS Code became because I try every editor just to make fun of it. Uh, so I think VS Code is really, really fast compared to Atom and other incarnations of that Chrome-based thingy, web-based stuff. Because even Adobe had one thing at some point, their own editor based on Atom, and VS Code. I think for now it's super fast, and I agree with you, Peter, because the people that I work with, for example, data scientists and a couple of other folks who are not really like coding friendly, I usually introduce them to VS Code. So especially Python support and all that stuff is pretty
Yeah, the
good in
Python
that one,
support
because otherwise
has
they
be
need to
very good.
relearn all the weird. Sorry, yeah.
No, I said I've also heard that the Python support should be like something extra on VS Code. I haven't been doing Python for very long.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good as well. I think that's the nice part, that people who are just starting, they don't need to unlearn what they know on Windows, for example. No, they know all the shortcuts and all the stuff. So that's slightly easy. And also, if you're coming from Visual Studio Code, then usually you're okay with Alt KC 972, and then somehow that shortcut is okay.
So it stands for Visual Studio. I thought it stood for us versus code. I didn't think it was like.
No, actually, it's spelled out as Visual Studio Code.
Oh, God.
I think that's a Visual Studio Code joke. That's why it's slow. If it was Emacs, then I think it could have been super fast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's people versus code.
Yeah. Actually, I've got a Microsoft joke if you want that one as well, but we'll maybe save that till later.
Yes.
Spread it out a bit.
But when you, Peter, when you started using Visual Studio Code, there is no Clojure support for that one at all?
Yes, it was actually when you like in Visual Studio Code, it's very much like I think it's very Atom inspired as an editor. Yeah. So you have this like extension pane that you can look at, and you can search for extension. I think they're called packages in Atom, but in Visual Studio Code it's extensions. And then so you can just open it and type Clojure, and it will show you everything Clojure related. And it was quite a lot. Even then, it was quite a lot of stuff for Clojure. But I was really new to Clojure script, and the whole everything, and of course also to VS Code. So I really couldn't like tell one of them from another what they solved. Like you could say like it's had a REPL, didn't make all that much sense to me, and maybe one was a linter, one something else, and so it was a bit hard to see what should I use, what of this stuff is actually still working. Lots of things like gets thrown up there and people just abandon it. So I found this excellent extension. Was called Clojure. It's been made by Andre Leeson, I think, and it's still there. It's still working. It's not one of the abandoned ones, but it helped me with the Clojure code. But I was mostly doing Clojure script. I couldn't really get it to help me with Clojure script. So then there was one other extension there called Visual Clojure, and that one worked for Clojure script at the start, and then it stopped working. I don't know what changed. Probably something in lining in or whatever. Something changed,
Yeah.
and it stopped working. And there was no way the creator of that extension, this last thing was heard from him was like, I haven't abandoned this. So, but it was like abandoned. So what I did was like, I forked that one, or made a hard fork of it, because I've tried to send some PRs first, and then I like forked it. So it's actually, so I created Calva, which is the extension that I maintain from this visual Clojure, and that's the start of it. And I did it like for my own need, and then like published it on the marketplace, and pretty quickly people started to use it, and yeah, everything like just it was kind of, I wasn't expecting it to happen that fast. So it was like people were like really starved for something like that on the Visual Studio Code. So then I remember this like feeling of using something that felt abandoned, and said, okay, so that shouldn't happen with this one. So that was my first like approach to it. I try to maintain this and like show people that I'm there, and trying to solve stuff that they have problems with, even if I was very new to everything, and
Where
I
did the
really
name
didn't
come
know what I
from?
was
Maybe.
doing all the time. So it was like frustrating at the start. But I was like this. My determination was, okay, at least I should be there, and people should know that I'm trying here, and that was actually one of the cool things with this Clojure extension that I mentioned from Andrew Leeson. So it was like his tagline was, "Believe me, I'm trying." And I've kind of like follow that path. So yeah.
So where did the name come from?
So Calva. So it was like, since I've been using Cider with together with the Emacs guys, I was like very inspired by Cider, and I also quickly found out that the stuff I was building on was Cider stuff. It was like the nREPL and stuff like that came from this Cider project. So and Calva is short for Calvados. So in Calvados, you distill
Apple
from
brandy.
cider. That's that's the name. So Calva is distilled from cider. Also in this Clojure world. Yeah.
So obviously you're not that far from Emacs.
No. I'm a big cider fan.
Yeah, I think also the way that Bojidar runs the project into like a community involvement and everything. That's also really nice.
It's so inspiring.
It's not just the code. Yeah.
No.
Well, I think actually, didn't Bojidar make he made Orchard, which was like a non-Emacs specific set of extensions for the REPL and all these various other completions and all these other bits and pieces. So the idea is that many editors and many REPLs can get the benefit of the side of underpinnings. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and they do. I mean, it's like there in Fireplace, and I think even Cursive is using it, and Calva, and so it's lots of projects benefiting from that. So and this Orchard project, it's a bit confusing because the Orchard is both this like project that tries to do this and make this tooling for editors, but it's also a small library. But if we're talking about the Orchard, the project, that's exactly how it is. That's what Dara wanted with it, and it really has that function.
Yeah, but it is a pretty impressive feat, Peter. From not knowing the language, and then going into an editor that's obviously some other shit, and and then trying to build the whole tooling yourself. So how difficult was it? Because I can imagine the extension is mostly built in JavaScript or something.
Yeah, so it was like JavaScript to start with, and
Yeah,
then I made some attempts to port it to Clojure script,
yeah. I
and
was curious.
uh, and I actually there was nothing special that stopped that apart from me realizing that I would be doing that instead of like maintaining Calva as such. So it was like so still parts of Calva is written in Clojure script. We can talk more about that later. But if we go back to this start of things, I was looking at Clojureverse the other day and looking for something, and I found this post from me where I like sort of announce Calva, and
Oh.
and it ends with this like caveat that okay, so yes, I don't know what I'm doing. So and remember, I was in that like felt like that for a very long time, and of course I still feel like that in a way, but like on a new level. So it was really it was really hard in the beginning, just understanding what people were asking about and like trying to like frame what their requests were, or even a bug report could be hard for me to understand, because I didn't understand that much about Clojure and about nREPL. And nREPL is still a bit of
Wow.
a mystery for me, I should admit, but it's still like I have lots of so much more of a grip of things right now. So it's much better. uh, and but yeah, so it was that in the start, but also in the start it was so much to do. It was so many small things I could do with Calva that improved it. So I think that from the user point of view, I don't think it was that obvious that I was struggling. It was like from their point of view, I was there, I answered uh, uh, questions, and I fixed things, and so I think it was not all that awful for the users. But for me, it was like it was a bit of a hell at the start, but it was also very rewarding and very fun. So I shouldn't complain at all. And it was
Yeah.
very like chosen. I had to like suit myself if I was feeling if I wasn't like satisfied with it, which I was. But anyway, so it was a chosen path.
So, what is the story behind converting the JavaScript stuff to Clojure script
Yeah.
for the extension?
So obviously I would love Calva to be written totally in Clojure script. That would, I mean, um, it's even now today when I work with the parts that are written in Clojure script, it's so much more rewarding. I mean, I don't have to restart the extension to test stuff, and it's everything. So it's so it's so much better. But when I did some of these attempts to do it, it was like, okay, so either we start from scratch and like write a new extension parallel with maintaining Calva. But I was like,
Yeah.
so I had some help from a Brazilian guy there a while, but then he had to do other stuff and leave the project. Pedro, if you're listening to this, I love you. That was great. But so then I was like, there was only me, and I couldn't really like finish that path. So I decided I should try to instead like do it piece by piece. So, and I just tried to see where I should like put the how should I frame it? Where I should like choose to be doing stuff in Clojure script, and where I should choose to do stuff in JavaScript as it was. But then then I found that, okay, so in the interface with VS Code, everything like the API and stuff like that with VS Code, let's try to do that, to keep that in JavaScript, and then do it, if you call it all business logic, if you like, in ClojureScript.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that, and I started to do that with the formatting. So and that's how the formatting works today in Calva. But then I got another guy entered the project, and right before he entered, I had like ported everything to TypeScript instead, all JavaScript stuff to TypeScript. And then when he entered the project, he started to build lots of new stuff, and he was like a really proficient programmer in all aspects, and he knew ClojureScript and everything. But he was really proficient in TypeScript and front end stuff in TypeScript. So he like added a lot of new TypeScript to the project.
Okay.
And I think like somewhere there, I stopped like trying to keep this porting, because I couldn't keep up with. I couldn't keep up really with it. So it was. It's still like something that I want to do, but it always like competes with what else could I do. The users ask for this, and and I would really like to do this feature or whatever. So I think most often I just keep doing things in the TypeScript and instead. But lately I've been more and more like leaning towards, okay, so could do some more stuff in the ClojureScript, and so I don't know, there's a few inches, and it's still there. It's still like very easy to do something in ClojureScript instead of TypeScript as Calva is built. So if you do it in ClojureScript, you actually just you implement the functions there, and then you just decide which ones are like the API or the library, and then you just add that to the Shadow.js definition file, and then you just use them from TypeScript. So it's really just a matter of starting to like move code there, I think. Then
how do you compare, because you wrote a lot of TypeScript and then ClojureScript, right? So how do you compare? And also for your own work, you're also writing ClojureScript there. So how do you what kind of differences that you find between TypeScript and ClojureScript?
So I still think that me as a programmer, I'm still very like stuck in this old way of programming. So it's very imperative. So that's easier for me. So that's one of the things that of course keeps this going. Is like, okay, so I know how to do it in TypeScript, but in ClojureScript I have to figure more stuff out and really like try to get into that line of thinking. So I still think that even my ClojureScript code is a bit imperative. So that's but I'm struggling with that, and I'm getting more and more of a functional type of programmer, but it's a journey. But
I was going to say, do you think that you think the fact that it's an editor, which is kind of, I guess, I mean, I don't know enough about VS Code, but normally these editors have these kind of extension points or these little hooks or these little events or whatever. Is that what it's like? I mean, how does the kind of, what's the interface into VS Code like? Is it based around some kind of framework that gives you alerts or gives you the text that you've got to deal with, and then you have to parse it somehow? What's the story there?
So I think it basically you have two ways of doing stuff. So you can either do it using this language server protocol, and or you can do it like client side. But either way, you have like the same interface that you're working with. I haven't been doing much of the LSP stuff, but to me it looks really like it's the same. And but so I don't know if we like take this. If you get text, no, you don't get text. You get some kind of event, and then with that event you get like maybe the position or range or something like that, and then you ask for the text. So it has some of the extension points is like providers. So you say like hover provider. So then if you implement your hover provider and do your stuff in there. So in the case of Calva, when it gets a hover, it goes to nREPL and I think it's the info operation and get info about that symbol they're hovering on. And then you cook up some markdown text and return that, and then that will be put in the hover. So it's from a user point of view, regardless of which language extension you're using, stuff like behave very similarly. So Calva isn't different from some Python extension or something else, and that's part of this. As I think VJ was in there on that track, there is like you recognize stuff. It's if you have learned something in one part of VS Code, then you can use it for other parts. So it's very consistent in the UI for the user.
But so things like ParInfer and ParEdit and stuff like that, they're just plugins that other people take care of. And what is, I'm guessing, or is Calva kind of integrating that, or how does it fit with all the sort of other bits and pieces that you need to like format code and slurp code and barf code and all these kind of things? Or do you just say, okay, no, screw it, it's ParInfer all the way, and we're not doing all of this slurping and barfing business?
Yeah, so let's start with one of these questions you asked there. It's
sure.
So
answer them all immediately, Peter.
I mean, yes, like if it's like different people providing different stuff, and so there was a ParEdit extension when I published Calva, and forgot his name, Dimitri something. He called Yogtos, I think. So he contacted me. He said it was like, okay, it's really good that someone is taking care of the Clojure on VS Code, but we have this ParEdit extension with like PRs that haven't been pulled and issues that haven't been. So he asked me, could you take care of that as well? And so I did. And for a while, I just published a new extension. I don't remember, ParEdit Revived, I call it something like that. And it just fixed Yogtos pain points. And so I had it like that as well. And also for the formatter, when I started taking care of the formatting, I did that as an extension of its own. So my idea then was so the Calva should be mostly the REPL part of it.
Right. Okay.
And then that other extension, if you're using Andrew Leeson's Clojure extension, you should benefit from the ParEdit and the formatting and other stuff as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But after a while, that it got a bit hard to keep together, and I noticed that I needed stuff that the par edit extension was doing in Calva, and so I had to like invent like an API between those and stuff like so that I didn't have to make like a new AST in some other place and stuff like that. So, but after a while, I just like fuck it. Your language, Ray.
Oh yeah. When in Rome,
Of course.
when on Devon, fuck it.
No, so, but anyway, so I decided to like source it in to Calva. So today Calva is very much like a monolith, so it does it all. So you only have to if as a VS Code user, you only have to install Calva, and then you should have like everything you need for Clojure development. So it like does like syntax highlighting for you and formatting and par edit and the REPL and you name it. So that was the case even when I was doing this in different extensions, because you in VS Code you have this thing that's called extension pack. So Calva was an extension pack that you can just like bundle all this other stuff. But that's what I want. I don't fancy myself that part of Emacs. If I say it like this, you have to like to pick everything together and configure stuff to no end. That's how it feels for me. And so I think like make something that has almost everything you need, or everything you need, and very few settings. And like when you need something as a setting, I try to, of course, give it sane defaults, but it should be like pre-configured a lot for you. So it's a bit like the Space Max philosophy in a way, I guess, around it. So that's, I think that's the first question you asked there about like, so how is it like, is it different stuff? So it's mostly everything is done in Calva, in that one extension. There is one extension exception there that I will come back to. But you also said like a par infer there, and that's a bit painful because I have tried so hard to get par infer working, and not only I, also Sean LeBron and other guys have tried, and VS Code really doesn't fit the par infer bill. So this new smart mode, so VS Code doesn't have the API that can support it very well. So in Calva you have small parts of par infer, but they are like on demand. So if you have unstructured code that is like structured on the indent level, so then you can use this par infer command to heal it. So it's I use that a lot myself. When stuff that do get unstructured, I can heal it. So that's the only par infer actually you have in Calva, unfortunately. But it's not for lack of trying. It's me and a lot of other people have tried.
I know that par infer has certain requirements of the editor, doesn't it, in terms of like the cursor position and the ability to understand whether or not some particular keystroke has been pressed or whatever. And not every editor has all of those kind of affordances.
I think it's like it needs to know what has happened. I think that's the most that's the thing that smart mode needs. It needs to know what did just happen, not like how does the text look now, and it looked like this before and now it looks like that, and the cursor is there. I mean, the cursor position you get, but you get like, so it looked like that and now it looks like this and you have the cursor here. but you don't know where the cursor was before, and you don't. So it's
right. Okay.
so
It doesn't
and you
return
don't know
all of the
exactly what
history.
has changed, and
Right.
powering for smart mode needs that. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what's missing.
Yeah.
And I also I think that when Sean was doing this, he was using Atom, which has this. So I think he was a bit surprised when he started to try to implement this in other places and uh, uh, see to that other did it. He was a bit surprised to find out that Atom was a bit unique in having
Maybe
this.
that's why Atom is so slow.
Yeah.
But I know that Colin has got it working in IntelliJ as well. So it's but there's a lot of work if you listen to the story about that. So, but I think that with par edit, and you said barfing and slurping. So in Calva, I don't know if it's the Emacs cider standard bindings for it, but I use control right arrow for barfing and control left arrow for slurping. That's the default key bindings in Calva. And I see people I just need to tell them once, and then they start barfing and slurping, and then it's okay, so no one asked
because they've been drinking too much Calva Dist.
Actually, that's another story. So it's actually this Calva thing has gotten me to drink a lot less. I need my head to be sharp, even in the weekends and stuff like that. So, so I will keep doing Calva just to stay off the booze,
stay healthy.
So to do Calva, to stay away from real Calva.
Yeah, in a way.
Nice. So you are still working in the Clojure together project mode, right? Or is
Yeah,
it
a few days
now?
more. I think it ends Thursday or Friday or something like that.
Nice. So any few words on that one? How the Clojure together thing is helping you, or
it's
what did you do for this one?
So it's awesome. It's as I mentioned, I have 5 kids, but I didn't mention that I have a wife as well. So in a way, for them, for my family, to share me with Calva and the Clojure community, it has helped a lot. So so I'm actually making money from this now, and so it's it has been totally awesome. So I've been able to both have my daytime job and then work with Calva every night, every weekend for 3 months. So it has been really, really fun and really, really helpful. And Calva has gotten so much better during this period because you can focus much more on doing bigger stuff than otherwise. And also, and it's not only the Clojure together thing, even if maybe it's connected, but then I've gotten a lot of help this period from these other people, and I think 2 months ago, Christian Fese, so a German guy, joined and officially joined the Calva team together with Kevin Steen and me, and he has been it every I don't know, we have pushed out new releases of Calva. Everyone is better than before, and it's really been awesome period. So it's I think actually the Calva that is now compared to the Calva that was before 3 months ago, which was very useful and everything like that, it's it's like night and day. Actually, it's so much better. It's
Yeah, I think I used I did install Calva a long time ago. I think a few days ago, or maybe last month or so. And then I think there is a new release that you made, and then the old one is obsolete, so I had to replace all the stuff. And uh, it's pretty fast moving, I would say.
yeah. So we're using that, or we're like releasing very often, and
Yeah,
so it's part of how Calva is developed, because so we have this, if we're doing something um, bigger, some bigger change,
yeah,
then I start with like writing the documentation for it.
yeah,
So I write. So this is how the documentation would look for this feature and this change, and
mm,
so then you get like, you can read that documentation and iterate on that, because
yeah,
the first version of the documentation is like crap. You can't do it that way,
yeah,
and then you iterate on it. Okay, so this is good enough, and then we start and developing on it. And while you're developing on it, of course, you got to try this like fantasy thing, and
yeah,
you see, okay, so maybe that one needs to be tweaked. But very often you can find that, okay, you can follow the documentation
yeah,
path, and then when it's like there, we so in a bigger like commercial project and stuff like that, you can of course do like user tests and everything like that, and make sure
yeah.
everything is right. But what we do is that it's like we release it. That's our user test. And so of course we try to not release too many bugs on people, but from a UX point of view, we
Yep.
like iterate on it that way instead. So we get feedback, and we try to be quick on fixing the stuff we get from the feedback, and then it gets a new release. So you see new release quite often. Of
Yep.
course, this period when I've been doing this so focused, and also Christian has been able to pull in many hours. It has
Yeah.
been like on a level that we can't keep up with. So it's going to slow down.
Mm.
But I think it has been
I
almost
think
like,
once the project matures to some point, then I think once you have all the 80% of the use cases covered in terms of what you can do in the editor and then the development, I think that then it kind of stabilizes, right?
yeah, probably.
It doesn't need like day to day changes that much. Yeah.
So what would just so that we get clear, Peter, what kind of features do you? I mean, we haven't really asked this question, but what kind of features do you have? I mean, for instance, one of the things I know that Cursive doesn't have for ClojureScript is a debugger. Is that
Yeah.
something which you guys have in Calva?
I'm sorry to say we don't have a debugger for ClojureScript.
Sorry, I didn't mean to shame you there. That was
No, it's not. It's no
bad
problem.
question.
I've been trying, and it looks a while that we would get one for free, because you could use like the Chrome debugger
Right.
in VS Code, but it seems like the source maps are lacking. Something is missing in them. So
Oh.
so you actually like I could enable that debugger, but it's like too erratic and works too few times, so it's not worth having there. But so the ClojureScript debugger is like a bit closer for us, if we can just figure out what's wrong with this source map, and
Yeah.
I don't know where it need to be fixed, if it's on the Clojure with S compiler level or if it's on the ClojureScript compiler level. I don't know where it is, but something needs to be fixed there in order for these to actually be useful. And on the Clojure side, I actually don't know what's entailed in getting a debugger there. I know I could choose going trying to do it on top of the Java debugger, like Cursive does, or I can like try to, and that's that path I don't really I don't really know how to start that even, but I could also do it the same way Cider does, and that's rather just a matter of finding the time and putting in the work. With that, that's not. Then I would know how to do it, but it's a lot of work to get it done. So there's no debugger in Calva, but it has to, we've like tried to see which features are there. I mentioned that it does this formatting for you and syntax highlighting for you, and it has the REPL, of course. So it's using nREPL to connect the REPL to your project from Calva, and then it's also there is very Cider inspired. So you have this in editor inline evaluation help, so you can just put your cursor behind or before a bracket and evaluate, and it will show you the result inline in the editor. And
that's nice.
And it also has this REPL prompt. So some people like to work more at the REPL prompt. I don't know why, but some people do that, so that we support that as well. And that one has gotten a lot better lately, because it was very rough at the start. But I think with the latest release today, I think it's pretty good actually. It still has some quirks, but it's pretty good.
It does have a fancy logo and everything.
Some people are complaining about that, so they want to remove it. So let's see if we. It's not on the top priority to remove it.
So when people start complaining about these things, now you know that you're popular.
Yeah, but I have like that logo is. I mean, it's a nice story, because I asked also on Clojureverse. I use Clojureverse for communicating about Calva. So I have chosen not to start a separate blog for it. So I use Clojureverse as my Calva blog. So I asked there for help with the logo and graphics part of Calva. And this guy, Eccentric J, who I don't know his real name. I really should ask him actually, but I don't know his real name. Eccentric J. So he's good with graphics and design. So he worked together with me and designed this really nice Calva logo. So I really love it. It's supposed to depict a glass of Calvados. So that's the parents of the glass. So you can see it.
Yeah.
So I'm really fond of that. So it's not going away from the Apple window any soon.
You can add like a fee, like a toggle for that one, right? If people want that kind of stuff, and that's what you see in Emacs, like a million customization options.
Yeah,
I don't like this. Okay, change it.
It could be a patron perk.
Like, you don't want to see the logo? Okay, pay us. Fair point.
Yeah, but I don't know actually. So feature-wise, I think it has, like you said, like 80% of the use cases. I don't know, but it has the most important features.
Yeah.
And I feel when I use it, so I would love a debugger, but otherwise it's there. It has what I need, pretty printing and everything. So
quick extra question then, Peter, is about like the build tools, because obviously there are. I mean, I would say probably 2 or 3, maybe it's 2.5. Maybe it's well. It's funny, Boot started off as a ClojureScript build tool, so maybe that would be the first one. Then you have Linegan, and then you have Deps.Eden.
And Shadow yes.
Yeah, so which is, to be honest, I use that all the time, and I think it's turns out to be, in my opinion, the best of all of the 3 tools. But But I was wondering what Calva does with these tools. Does it support like creating projects with them, or updating aliases, or running repos with these? How does it all work in the build tools?
Well, yeah, so that's a really good question. I actually realized quite recently that Cursive helps with creating projects. So I've started to think about, okay, so that would be quite neat actually if Calva could do that, because it would be like easier to, because the focus, a lot of the focus with Calva is getting it easy to start.
Right.
So that would really fit that story to make it easy to like create a new project. But I think I would like choose, if I did that, I would probably choose to support Shadow and Depsiden, I think, to start with, to do something like that. But so it doesn't help you create the projects today, but it helps you start the application with everything that the Calva needs to be there. So if in Cider, this is called Jackin. So
Right.
it injects all the dependencies it needs. In there, it supports legacy figwheel, line figwheel, and figwheel main, and Depsiden, and Shadow CJS as like for helping you start the project. You can connect to like any repo if you start the project yourself. So it can't really start a boot project for you. I haven't figured out how to do that. I'm not sure actually how many people use boot.
Visual Studio Code doesn't have like this the project notion, right? Like IntelliJ, for example, because none of the other languages that it supports has any idea of starting a project, because they have this workspace sort of thing, and that's basically a bunch of files together.
Exactly. So that's how it works in Bitcode. So it has this workspace thing, and a workspace can like contain many folders from many places. So it has this virtual workspace as well, if you like. I usually just use it like a folder as a workspace. But
I mean, I never use a workspace. I just put one folder, one window when I open Visual Studio Code. And I think one of the things that every other editor fails at for me is like it's not just the coding part, but it is also the whole workflow that I have in Emacs to check switch branches in Git and all that stuff, which is like everything is just keyboard driven.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that I miss in every other editor. Of course, they're fancy or whatever, and I don't use syntax coloring anymore. It's been a long time since I used it, so I don't care what colors they have. I don't care about the themes and this shit, so I just use either black on white or white on black, and that's it. I'm done.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
He's a Spartan,
Yeah, that's really Spartan.
You said like VS Code has extension pane, an extension pane. Emacs just has pane, so give me a bash on that one.
But that's the thing that I realized. I think 6 months ago or maybe 1 year ago or something. I tried a bunch of different types of things, and I tried different fonts constantly, and then I'm like, screw this thing, I'm done. Like the fucking color's annoying, and then I just removed it, and it's like suddenly, there is a sense of calmness when I read the code. And especially if you're writing Clojure, you don't need that level of syntax highlighting anyway, because the elements are the syntactical differences are not that many like every other language. So keywords are different, and static shit is different, and private is different, and that kind of crap isn't there in Clojure anyway. So
I love my rainbow parents though.
Oh my god. It's funny actually. I'm not a fan of the rainbow parens, but I know some of the people I pair with are fans of it, and it always makes my eyes go a bit. But that's the thing. Different strokes, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have left that actually configurable in Calva, so you can actually configure away the rainbow parent, but you can't configure away the syntax highlighting. It's there. I guess you could install a theme that like a VJ theme. I think you could do that.
Probably. I'm pretty sure. I think that somebody asked on Clojure recently, what is your favorite theme or something? And then I said, I use sexy monochrome or e-ink. So, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm still thinking that. What's the fuck with you?
I don't know. I think it's less noisy, I would say.
Yeah, so we're back to the build tools anyway. So we have
Yeah.
all these things, so you can do the build tools. That's kind of nice. You're working on that, or is that something which you can already? Does the editor recognize them at least, even if you can't start a project with them? It recognizes them and can kind of.
So boot, it doesn't do anything with boot,
No.
but with the other tools that we mentioned, it recognizes them and gives you like menus. So when you start a project, it's like reads these files and so which aliases do you want to launch with and stuff like that. So it's so it's like a few prompts that you answer, and then you're running. And also,
does it take care of like refreshing the dependencies so that it can analyze them for the formatting and all this kind of stuff?
So what's that? What do you do? Refreshing the dependencies?
Well, let's say you have a dependency on, I don't know, something like, let's say, JDBC or something. And maybe now you want to navigate to the JDBC code, from the code that you're writing some code, like, I don't know, get some select or result set or whatever JDBC does. I've forgotten more than I learned about JDBC. But let's say you make some statement, query statement or whatever it is, whatever the words are. But you want to say, what's the parameters again? So somehow your editor needs to know what the parameters are for that, initializing or passing parameters to those functions.
Yeah. So nREPL gives you this information.
Right, okay.
So as long as you have like evaluated the namespace that is requiring JDBC in this case, it will also like load that, and you can in Calva you can like command click if you're on a Mac. A symbol that's in JDBC, and it will jump to that file and you can read that code, or you can hover on it and see the documentation and the parameters it needs and stuff like that. So, but the refreshing part, I think that's taken care of as well. If like use some new, requiring something new, and you just like reevaluate the NS form, and then all symbols from that NS form.
Right.
You can look them up and inspect them and stuff like that. But with this, I want to go back to this like jack-in thing. So we have spent a lot of time on getting this as smooth as we can, and also have some kind of coverage of the most common cases. So we want to make it as easy as possible to like start with a Clojure project. But it gets a bit complicated when you add Clojure script to it, because then you need to like start a Clojure script compiler, and it needs to compile stuff and give you a REPL, and you need like to connect that one as well, and you need to help the user understand that he needs to like start the actual application before he can expect to do any REPLing towards it. So we'd like try to really streamline that process. Clojure script is a really important story, so we're trying to get Calva to really be helpful with Clojure script. It also has this like Nashorn support. So it's so if you, so for instance, I was helping out with a project called, I think it was called Parkera. It was like a very fresh first version of this project that was announced, I don't know, a month ago or something like that, and it was like a Clojure language parser. So it was built on top of Instaparse. Very cool project, but it was Clojure only. and I didn't like that. So I decided I should like make it CLJC, and then I had really good use for this Nashorn. So because then there was no fig wheel or shadow CLJS or anything in this project. But with Nashorn, you can like run the JavaScript stuff inside the JVM. So then I could port like this project to use CLJC, and I could like evaluate everything against ClojureScript just to make sure it was working. So you can also like use like ClojureScript in a Clojure or Java only project and by just telling Calva to fire up Nashorn for you. So it's yeah, when it comes to the build tools, it can help you both start your projects for you, and you can configure this, so you can add settings for it, so that the start of the project is like it asks nothing, it just starts it for you and starts up the server you're using for you and everything, and front end and back end, everything is just up and running with one keystroke. And it can also connect to a running REPL that way as well with the same configurations. So it can know how it should connect to the program. It can also connect to any REPL as long as that REPL has been started with the dependencies that Calva needs.
So you talked about. Sorry, keep on going, please.
No. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say you were mentioning like Shadow CLJS and Fig Wheel, and obviously Calva's built on top of Electron, built on top of Node. So Shadow CLJS gives you the ability to integrate with Node and also with running browsers and stuff like that. Sorry, Fig Wheel gives you that ability. I think Shadow CLJS has something in those areas as well. So is there something, do you have some knowledge about those tools in Calva? Or, I mean, obviously you know about them as a person, but does Calva know about them?
No, Calva doesn't really care about those things in like, it doesn't really know about that. It's like running in this node environment in that sense. I guess I could do something interesting if I thought about that for a while. It sounds like I could do some extra interesting stuff if I leverage that. Because I've been wanting to support Clojure evaluation, stuff like that, inside Markdown files and stuff like that. So that it would be like more like a notebook experience. So I think maybe it could be used for that, because then I could yeah. That was a good thing you mentioned, that maybe I could do something in that.
I'm not trying to give you work, Peter. It's okay.
No, but I just there's this one thing with the Markdown, or like any file being able to have the Clojure REPL behind there, because then I don't have a project. So but I do have a node under there, so it should be able to do something in that area.
The other thing I was going to ask you about was, a friend of the show, Mikael Borkent,
yes,
who has the CLJ Condo. Is that something that you're familiar with, the linter?
Yeah. So until yesterday, Calva.
This is hot off the presses. Come on. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So Calva was like had support for Joker for linting, but then the user had to get Joker installed on his machine, and give Calva the path for that, and yeah, so it was like it was not very Calva-ish, I would say. So, but Borkdude then, Michael Borkent.
Dude, yes.
Yeah, so we were talking about this. We have been talking about this for a while now. That what if we could make Calva start the linter inside the JVM for you. So then, because the problem with CLG Condo, using CLG Condo instead of Joker, was that CLG Condo didn't work on Windows. So we haven't been talking about the Windows story because that has been like a pain for Calva actually. But anyway, so this Graal VM stuff didn't build like a working executable for Windows. I don't know the full story, but anyway, so I couldn't really like say, okay, so we're switching to CLG Condo instead of Joker because that would leave my Windows user at a loss then. So we were talking about this. Okay, so maybe we can start CLG Condo via nREPL somehow instead. So we're talking about that. But then what Mikael did instead was that he built a language server protocol extension with CLG Condo. So, and this we're mentioning this language server protocol before, but it's very cool technology actually. So it's like implementing everything, all these editor APIs and callbacks and events and everything like that. But on this protocol level, so the actual extension code is like, I don't know, 10, 20 lines of code. It's just like saying, okay, there is my language server, and then you get everything. So he released this CLG Condo extension, and then I could remove everything in Calva that was like interpreting the Joker results and populating the problem lists and everything like that from Calva. And instead, I just like as I mentioned before, Calva can be an extension pack. So now today it's an extension pack packing Calva and the CLG Condo extension. And for the user, it's like install Calva, get all this other stuff we're talking about, and linting, and it's superb linting at that. So it's really good. And I get it like for free or for even more than for free. I get it like by getting rid of like hundreds of lines of code. So I'm really happy. So it was really cool and very, very rewarding working together with Michael on that, because he was as focused as I was on getting this user experience right. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Big thank you to Michiel.
Yeah, big thank you to him. It's really good. Also, as you were talking about features and this funding period is ending, and that we release often and everything, and stuff is hot off the presses. So let me tell you that that until earlier today, the Calva, if you like did something, evaluated something that wanted something from standard in, if you like evaluated read line, for instance, then Calva would look up. So it has been like that it's Calva 1.5 years old, something like that. It has been like that for all this time until today. So Christian has been working on that. So that was released yesterday. So now it's actually like prompting you if you need something from standard in. It works both if you evaluate in the editor or if you evaluate in the REPL prompt. And also until today, you haven't been able to interrupt running evaluations. So if you had like started something that refused to stop and started to like consume your CPU and stuff like that, you couldn't stop it. All you had you could do was actually restart the jacking process. So that was pretty painful. So also that was fixed today. So I think
perfect timing.
Yeah, it's perfect timing because it's like it feels like now we can really say that okay, so this is because before that I think these are like hygiene things, like it shouldn't lock up if you do that. You should be able to stop a running process like that. So it's really good. That was like the two last things that was like a bit awful actually in the lacking. So that's really good.
Nice.
And also, yeah. So I know maybe syntax highlighting is not something that gets you going, but
not me.
But Calva has this.
Okay. There are fans of it out there.
Cool. So the Calva has this like, so okay, the basic syntax highlighting, but it also has special dealing with comments and with ignored forms. So because I want to encourage people to use the editor for evaluating stuff instead of being at the REPL prompt.
Right.
So comments in Calva actually they get italicized instead of just green or something like that. I'm talking about the comment form here. So if you just put something in the comment form, it will like get italicized. It's rather highlighted rather than like hidden. And you can so Calva has this evaluate top level form command. So if you like put stuff in the comment, it will like treat them as if they were on the top level. You can use the evaluate top level command inside that comment and evaluate form after form with just one keystroke without having to place the cursor very much precision. So it tries to like
that's a pretty nice feature.
Yeah, it is. You use it a lot.
Yeah, because I usually have some comment at the end of the file somewhere trying out some things, and then every time I need to, especially when I format it, then all the parentheses get bunched together, and I have to go to the exact point to evaluate the last form. This is
exactly
interesting.
So it's really helpful, and also for ignored forms, I tried to make them more ignored, so they get dimmed out. So so I was like, then Calva user. I don't know if he's using it still. Stefan van der Oort, who heard about my idea of like italicizing stuff and stuff, and maybe you can dim them out instead. So we did that, and it's really cool because when you're ignoring something, you just put an ignore form there, and it gets dimmed out. So it's very like if it's a big form, so it's very the feedback is actually great. And I might ask you if you know if you put two ignore forms in a row after each other. So let's say you have a vector, and inside the vector you have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And then in front of the 1 in the beginning, you put two ignore forms, and then you evaluate that vector. What do you get?
3, 4.
I'm gonna type it.
Are you typing it?
I can't remember whether it does the next one or the outer one. I can't remember.
So I have an ignore form, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in a vector.
So yeah, if you do that, then you can't. That's nothing. But if you have like the vector 1, 2, 3, 4, and inside the vector you have the ignore form twice in the beginning.
Oh, okay. I have no clue.
It sounded like Jay got it.
I'm not sure.
So you're trying it because then if you evaluate the vector, you would know the answer.
I can't. I don't know how to evaluate in Visual Studio Code because I'm using Visual Studio Code now.
I see.
So I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to type here.
Are you using Calva?
Yes.
Cool. Then you just need to be like in
Oh
the
yeah,
beginning,
Control
after
C,
or before
Control E,
the
something.
vector, and then.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna torture our audience with my with my ignorance of Visual Studio Code.
So we can have like a Calva course after this, you and I. But
exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, so Jay was Ray.
Okay.
Sorry, was right there.
It ignores the next one. Yeah.
It ignores like 2 of the next 2 ones if you do that. So if you like, so that actually gets a vector of 3 and 4. And that was not what I was expecting. So I thought it would like ignore the ignore form instead. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought that. So it and some people actually used it in let boxes, for instance. So if you want to ignore one of the bindings in the let box, you just put two ignore forms in front of the binding. It will ignore both the symbol and the value. So it's people actually using it. So then when this dimming feature was released, and it didn't take long for someone said, okay, so it's not doing the right thing here. So we had to fix that. So that comes, so that's a bit of the lesson here is like if you add some feature like that, then you actually like dig up completely new kinds of things that go wrong. So it's well, without me having special highlighting for ignored forms, I wouldn't have been able to do that mistake. But it's interesting, I think, with that stuff. So, and I tried that in Emacs, and it actually does the wrong thing. So it's
okay, I found out what went wrong. I think I had to restart because you released a new version of Calva like 1 hour ago or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I just said update everything, and then now it can't. Exactly. So I was trying to do something, and then it failed because I had to restart Visual Studio Code. Anyway, so I think we covered a lot of ground. Did we miss anything from Peter? Any other topics that we missed about Calva?
I'm not sure, but I think that this nREPL and orchard thing needs like some kind of more mention, because this this funding period, it was like Calva, and it was Cider, and it was Shadow Sail.js, all in the same funding period. So
it's like a tooling funding period.
Yes, really. And then this nREPL and orchard thing gets really like at the center of this. So it even if it hasn't been as we like envisioned in the beginning, that we would like work a lot together on the nREPL stuff, and but so we have like built the foundation for that by like forming some formed this dev tooling task force, as we call it. So we have the communication, everything there. So we synchronize a lot, and I think that the dev tools will benefit a lot from this going forward. Because we have this. So one example, I mentioned this ASTs. So only within Calva, I think that at any given moment, I think I build like 3 or 4 or 5 different ASTs because reasons. And there are also ASTs like built inside tools that I use and stuff like that. So we have been talking quite a bit about that, and try to see a way that we could like centralize this and build some kind of master AST that every other piece of tool, the tooling can use instead.
Oh,
So, and I think that would be both in matters of performance for some operations that need a lot of, like if you build an AST of all the files in the project and stuff like that,
yeah.
and but also in terms of consistency. So then, if you see that you're like interpreting the Clojure code in the wrong way in some place, and you can like fix that at one place, and then all the tools will benefit and get that fixed at the same time. So I think this initiative by Butidar is gives us a lot of hope for the tooling and going forward. So it's it will be. I think we will see a lot more cooperation there, and also, if I interpret the discussions correctly, a lot more focus on ClojureScript story, getting it more the tooling more at the level where Clojure has it.
Yeah. Great.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I think we are almost. Oh wow, 1 hour 30 minutes. That's I think not enough time to cover entire Calva, but I think we did a pretty good job.
But didn't I have 128 gigabytes of hard disk?
and I did. I think even with my stupidity, I was able to update Calva and then type in the stuff, and then I can see the dimmed forms in the editor now.
Yeah.
So
then it tells you how it will be evaluated then.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Awesome. So I think it's a nice spot to conclude our episode for today. Thanks a lot, Peter, for joining us, and thanks a lot for doing a lot of work to make Clojure easy for the latest hipster generation who are using VS Code, and especially the getting started story has been a pretty difficult thing in Clojure world for most of the people. I think just one extension being available, extension pack being available, and then all the bells and whistles coming up with it is extremely useful for the people who are getting started.
Yeah.
So and also of course people who are experienced, I can imagine.
I hope so. So it might sound like I'm only focusing on the beginner, but it's really important that it's a good tool for the experienced and the professionals as well. So it's
exactly. So and of course congratulations on using the CLJ together funds and then releasing it even another version 1 hour ago.
Yeah.
and spending all your time, and our apologies to your family. But the larger community is getting a lot of benefit out of this, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I'll buy them nice presents from the funding money. So.
Christmas.
I don't think most of your kids are not ready to drink Calva, I suppose. Otherwise, everybody gets Calva.
It's funny with this new generation; they don't drink actually. So it's so it's I don't think my daughter, she's 19, I don't think she's she's tasted wine, but to me she doesn't like it. So it's very different.
My kids are the
it's
same,
very
actually.
different from when I was a kid.
Yeah, my kids are 19 and 15, and neither of them either taste a drink or want to taste drink. They have no interest in it at all.
I guess that's good. I'm not sure if it's good, but I think it's good.
Probably. I mean, I've never tasted alcohol knowingly, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Okay. As far as I know, I never did. So, but of course, I keep drinking quote unquote cider. So that's good enough for me.
Keep drinking that. Cool.
You're drunk on Emacs.
Yes. Anyway, so I think that's the episode from us. We hope to continue the rhythm again. And thanks a lot, Peter, for joining on the day after daylight saving changes.
Yeah.
So I think that's it from us. And people who are listening to the episode, as Peter said, it's extremely easy to install Calva. Just download Visual Studio Code, search for the extension, and then get it, I think. So, and Peter, are you also on Patreon or something?
No, I'm not on Patreon, but I've
Yet.
actually been no yet, but I'm not sure if. But I've actually been enrolled on GitHub sponsors right
okay,
now.
yep.
So I don't know when you're airing this.
Yeah,
Be a week or
probably
two.
should be there.
A week or two. So maybe my GitHub sponsors page will be active then, and then
Yeah.
it's very cool because GitHub is matching the sponsors,
The contributions. Yeah.
the contributions. Yeah. So the first
Yeah.
year. So if someone
Yeah.
like would sponsor me for $5 a month, then I would get 10 actually. So that's
that's really great.
let's see. But they said it would take a few days for them to review my last stuff, and then it should be live. So maybe it's live when people hear this.
Yeah, probably. So you do check them out.
github.com/pez. Then that's me.
Yeah.
PEZ.
PEZ.
Yes.
PEZ.
for the people across the pond.
Yeah.
So just a quick shout out to Brandon, our Patreon patron. He suggested to grab some of the time from Peter and then discuss Calva. So thanks a lot, Brandon. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is especially for you.
Yeah.
And
I also want to thank Brandon a lot because he's really helpful with the Calva project. So it's bringing up issues and fixing issues, and so he's really contributing.
Thank you, Brandon. Great job on that one, and great job on telling us, poking us to bring Peter on the episode. So that's it from us for episode 50 something. I think it's 54, I suppose. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.